Hello, friends. Cowboy Joe Boo here with the Joe Boo Report. It's never too early to start thinking about next season. Today on First Take, they're talking about Vegas odds on who's going to be in the Super Bowl. Let's go to the tape and see who they have.
And on that note, welcome back, guys. Now that 2015 season is in the books, it's time to look at the odds to win next year. According to Westgate Las Vegas Superbook, Seattle, New England, and Pittsburgh are the favorites to win the 2016 championship at 8-1. Arizona, Carolina, and Green Bay are next at 10-1. Denver listed at 14-1. Jeff Saturday still in the house. Freddie Coleman of the Freddie Coleman Show here with us. Good to see you.
Good to see everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Absolutely.
Looking sharp.
All Denise Coleman, my wife. Goes by Denise. I'll leave it up to her.
We got
A lot of love
two
for the
guys here
wifeys
saying,
today.
I'm all about my wife.
I love it. Valentine's Day is Monday.
That's right.
We are in the spirit.
That's
and
right.
Super Bowl just wrapped, so why not look ahead to next year? Who's your
Sure.
favorite?
Well, why wait? I like Pittsburgh. To be
Do you
honest with
really?
you, I really do.
You like it?
With that defense?
Well, the defense will get better because I thought Bud Dupree, the rookie, really came along strong. What he was able to do, he can be potentially that next great linebacker. Ryan Shazier was a freak of nature. It seems the more and more that he got comfortable in that defense, the better he got. He became one of the leaders of that defense. So I think that defense will be improved. This team was a fumble away from us having a different conversation about the AFC Championship game where it would have been Pittsburgh in New England. They didn't have Le'Veon Bell, they didn't have Antonio Brown, and they were giving the business to that Denver defense who had one of the all-time great runs in the history of playoffs. I mean, going back to using a memory here, they played Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger. They allowed one touchdown pass, picked off 3 passes, and had 13 sacks. That's one of the all-time great playoff runs.
They did get to avoid Antonio Brown.
Exactly. And they avoided Le'Veon Bell, who's one of the better running backs in the league.
Probably.
So I think having both of those guys back, Ben Roethlisberger's an elite quarterback, you know that offensive line is going to continue to get better. They're pretty good this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that defense will get better. And you don't know about window of opportunity. You know this, Jeff. Those windows get smaller and smaller and smaller as your quarterback gets older or pieces of that team gets older. I think that sense of urgency, I like Pittsburgh. I think that would be my favorite right now to win it all next year.
Quick thought. I don't want to get too deep into this, but they have like 31, I think, upcoming potential free agents, and they could lose up to 7 starters. So they might have to revamp quite a bit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
That's my thing about like picking. Like when they have these odds, is I guess it's assuming that everybody sticks around.
Yeah.
Because as you're looking at that, I mean that's a hard step. And that Denver and that Carolina, who lost a game before the Super Bowl, and like you said, ran into a buzzsaw and didn't really play well. They're down the list.
down the list.
I mean, like it surprises me of how odds makers do. I do like what you're saying in Pittsburgh. I think they're a very good football team and on the upswing. And I agree with you. Defensively, I think they're offensively they were already incredible. They're lights out with Brown playing. He is the best receiver in the game right now, and so. Le'Veon Bell coming back and getting healthy, Pouncey coming back, their line will be better. I like Munchak as their offensive line coach. I think all of those things bode well for me. It is hard for me sitting a few days after the Super Bowl not to pick one of the two, know, whether it be the Panthers or the Broncos.
Who's the Broncos quarterback?
Well, that's
what I'm saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, how do they make the odds already? But I mean, think about it. Let's just take the Panthers for 1 second. And how could you not? Offensive line wise, they play. They got exposed in the Super Bowl against the best pass rusher in our game right now. Right? Didn't play great. Cam didn't play great. Their run game got stuffed, that kind of stuff. So they got out of sorts and just didn't. They still had a shot until late in the game to win. Defensive line-wise, defensively, this is a very good football team. They run either first or second in the league. You got to like that team. I mean, you got to like a team who can run it, who's got Cam Newton at quarterback. You're going to have Benjamin come back for them at receiver. Funchess was growing and developing. Olsen, we know. So now Newton's got more weapons. It's hard for me to just say until you know where all the free agents and everything kind of fits together. Who was the odds-on favorite? That's just a difficult. Because again, what if we say this and like you said, 7 guys from Pittsburgh walk out?
It's possible.
I don't feel the same.
Yeah.
Right.
I think with Carolina, I want to see how they deal with being the hunted instead of being the hunter, because for the longest time, they play in the NFC South, not a good division. They should win it. Yeah, New Orleans is not this, Atlanta's not that. Next year, they go into the season being the hunted.
Playing the ones.
Which
is a different.
Right, and it's a whole different deal because now, for the first time in probably in that franchise's history, they're getting everybody's best shot from the jump. I want to see how the Carolina Panthers, you can talk it, but can you deal with it? I want to see how they do that.
But they handled it this year. They took some shots. I mean, you got Seattle. You played some good opponents, and you took care of business.
But people still didn't believe in them, though.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. People still didn't believe.
Mentality of the opponent. I got you.
People still thought Arizona was going to beat them. They waylaid them. People thought Seattle was going to beat them on the road, and they go to a 31-0 lead.
Yeah.
So I think they had that disrespect card that they were able to play because people still didn't believe in them. People know now, okay, hey, 15-1, that team's pretty good. We'll see, like you said, Jeff, how they deal against the ones playing a tougher schedule.
Losing the Super Bowl and then watching your quarterback take a bunch of shots.
I agree.
Ain't a bad motivating factor. I can let you know from a guy who's lost one and everybody wants to put their shots on everything and define you at the moment of, when you're the most disappointed. There are going to be some guys in that locker room who are ready to come back quick.
This is a bizarre conversation to me about Carolina because all year long, my instincts were they're overachieving, especially without Kelvin Benjamin, as you said, to the point Cam Newton was, he literally was Superman.
Yeah.
He took it up about 5 levels from what I thought he was in the past 4 years. And all of a sudden he was throwing it from the pocket like unconsciously.
That's right.
Where he's just off his back foot, just rockets right here. And he and Greg Olsen created this almost, it was magical chemistry that they had. I know where you're going to be. I'm going to throw it on a rope. You're going to catch it. You're going to snag it. What great hands that guy has. And yet I couldn't buy into them. Seattle, I thought they'd beat Seattle, but I didn't think they'd beat Arizona. And then all of a sudden, I flipped around and I gave in and said, Cam is Superman. Yeah. He is superhuman, and this just in, he's not superhuman. He's a really good human, a really gifted human. So now I'm back to, wait, did we all kind of overrate them a little bit going into next year? I agree with chips on shoulder. And I think Cam learned so much from that whole week, and that whole game, and that whole post game, and the 3 days that followed. I think he's learned just books and books of information in his brain about, oh, that's how you do it. So it's hard to bet against them getting back. But I'm going to go back to the team that I thought would win it all this year, and that was the New England Patriots. And I'm not going to bet against an upcoming 39-year-old quarterback named Tom Brady. I don't think he finished his mission. And they got caught, just flat-footed with their offensive line against those 2 pass rushers, and they just couldn't block them because the offensive line was a wreck all year. They fired the offensive line coach. I thought it was a little bit of beneath Bill Belichick's dignity, but they did bring back the old offensive line coach, Dante Scarnecchia, who's legendary.
Absolutely.
Scar,
Yeah, he coached in the Pro Bowl. A couple times. Yeah, very good coach.
Yeah, he is legendary there. So maybe he will short back up. They just got to get healthy. Just get a few people back healthy and stay reasonably healthy. And if you give that guy some protection, I'm not going to bet against them next year.
Yeah.
But I have to throw in one little caveat here.
Okay.
My Dallas Cowboys, if they could ever get healthy, listen, they were loaded this year.
Scary offensively when they're healthy.
Hey, Romo got off to a hot start again this year after a year last year in which he lapped the field in QBR, and I thought he should have been the MVP going back 2 years. And again, this is the biggest if in pro football. If he can stay healthy and Dez can get healthy, and you get Orlando Scandrick, who was their best defender 2 years ago, if you get him back healthy, they're loaded. They're a really good football team with the best offensive line, to me, in pro football. How can you bet against them, at least as a dark horse? Yeah, I mean...
I think with the Cowboys, and your point is fair, Skip, there seems to be some black cloud.
Yeah.
1 year it's this. 1 year it's that. 1 year something else. Because seriously, and I'm speaking as a Cowboys fan.
We call that can't get right.
Right. Yeah, well, whatever. They seem to get it wrong.
Right.
Even though it's not their fault, because their defense last year, their defense wasn't that bad. No. It's just that if you know that you have to practically pitch shutouts to give your team a chance out Tony Romo, that's a lot of stress on your defense. So, but it always seems to be something that creeps up. 1 year, Tony Romo can't hold on to the ball on the field goal. Another year, he can't stay healthy. Another year, they lose on a bad rule that was executed properly in the playoffs against the Green Bay Packers. And you know it's driving Jerry Jones. He must be biting his pillow every night going, what are we going to do to get... So when I see something like that, until I see something change, as a Cowboys fan, I want to trust them because, Skip, you're right about how loaded they are talent-wise, but there's something about something's going to come up. You're just waiting for it to happen, and when it does happen, you go, okay, that's what I thought would happen with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. By the way, Tony Romo is going to be 36 years of age, which is shocking to me because I still see him as kind of kid-like, you know, cap on backwards.
Let me say this because you brought up the Patriots early. Yeah. I saw Robert Kraft at the Super Bowl and had a chance to talk with him for a few minutes. And it's funny to hear him, how hard it is for him to go to the Super Bowl without his team being in it. He was like, oh, it just, I mean, what I love about it, you're talking about an owner, he takes it personal.
He does.
And I had so much respect for that. I mean, he was like, oh, it gets me, you know, having to be here and celebrate two other teams. And it's funny to hear that perspective because you think about how many times he's been there, and he becomes accustomed to, hey, we're going to get there, and then it got them. So to your point, they're going to do whatever they got to do to get there. I mean, from owner all the way down. We know Belichick we know Brady, all that, but starting from the owner, it was a great conversation, and I love his attitude about it. But he takes it when the owner's taking it personal. You know, everybody in that organization is going to take it.
So he had that on a mission looking
already. You know, we weren't into the game yet. We hadn't even seen the game. It was pregame.
Psycho Robert.
Psycho Robert. I like that.
And guys, Arizona and Green Bay will get better. Arizona choked. I think they're going to learn a lot.
Are you picking?
No, but I'm also saying, and Aaron Rodgers will get Jordy back. So
for sure, Green Bay will definitely.
And the lead receiver. And Jordy
knows that. Do you like Green Bay?
No.
Does Eddie Lacy get right?
Patriots.
He needs to get slim. That's not being on slim slow, according to what his coach said.
Yeah. What's it, Karen?
Karen.
Oh, yeah, have Eddie.
Have Karen call it.
Yeah, get him right. Get him skinny.
You know who the Patriots are, real quick? They're the 49ers of the 80s. Because they had the same mentality that their ownership, when they didn't even get to a championship game. I remember when they lost to the Giants, when Joe Montana got hurt in that game where he got knocked out. Eddie DeBartolo was so mad that not only that they got beat, but they weren't going to NFC Championship game. And when you said that, I said, that's who the Patriots are, because everybody in that organization down said, it's either winning or, like Pat Riley said, or misery. If we're not in the championship, we're not happy. That's who the Patriots are, the 49ers of the 80s when they went on their run.
Good point.
Except that twice when New England got to the championship, some guy named Eli, I don't know what. The luckiest pass in the Super Bowl.
Well, one was luck. One was a pretty good throw to make.
Oh, man. Luck. Great play.
We have to go to break. I can't even.
Oh, my God.
That's like Molly's a Giants fan. That's right.
Thanks, friends, for watching the Joe Boo Report. I'm Cowboy Joe Boo. Be sure to click subscribe so that way you can get more of the Joe Boo Report.